Assalamualaikum and welcome to Unit 3.2. So, in this unit, we will discuss about the bus, width, its speed, and the bandwidth. I have already told you about the what is a bus in previous lectures. A bus is the data part, or the part in which our data will be carried out between two different devices or more than two different devices. So a bus width is the number of wires that are included in the bus. For example, we have 8 and 16 bit data bus was very common in the 1990s, but now we have 32 system and 64 bit system bus width are most common nowadays. Even with the mobile devices, 64-bit data bus are very common. The data uh, bus or the bus depends on that how much capacity do we have on our motherboard. The smaller the ICs would be, the larger the bus can we can make the larger bus. Uh, Also, it also benefit us that the greater the number of wires are contained in a bus, the greater is the transport speed of the data. So the speed of the bus is determined through the number of wires that are contained in the bus, and also the throughput or the controller that is carrying out the actual data transfer from the bus to different devices. No memory. We already know that we have some RAM slots available on our motherboard. We used to purchase different type of RAM from the market, and we can deploy and we can expand our RAM storage in our computer, so it will perform much smoother or much faster, as you can say. Uh, there are different types of RAM available in the market. The very first RAM that, which is now obsolete is the SIM or SIM static RAM. Static RAM uses flip-flops or a device that contains a couple of transistors to hold a single bit, a 0 or 1. So that require a larger amount of space, and it also requires a constant supply of power. Apart from that, dynamic RAM is more useful right now because it just contains on a single capacitor and a single transistor to hold a single bit, that is 0 1. That is dynamic RAM. It requires far less space as compared to static RAM. Uh, that is why it is much cheaper as well, and it is now which is used in our systems. The difference between static and dynamic RAM is that dynamic RAM needs to be refreshed because a capacitor can only hold the data a 0 or 1, a voltage level, for a very small amount of time. So a controller is needed which refreshes its memory or refreshes or provide the required voltage to the capacitor after some millisecond. So it needs to be refreshed very often, and that is not the case with static RAM. Now in dynamic RAM, we have some other type of memories. The first is SIM, that is single inline memory module, and second is dual inline memory module. The currently we have been using in our computer is dual inline memory module. The difference between these two can be very easily seen by looking at the RAM. On the single inline memory module, you will see the ICs or chips on one side of the RAM only. While in dual inline memory module, you will see the chips on both sides of the RAM. Therefore, dual inline memory module can hold much larger capacity as compared to SIM. Then we have RAM modules as well. RAM is a different type of memory which was first made by Kingston. It is not changeable because we cannot purchase and expand it to the need that we want. It is pre-programmed or it is directly fabricated onto the motherboard, so it is not changeable. So that is the only difference in RAM. Okay. Now we have some other type of memory that we see nowadays, that is DDR1, DDR2, DDR3, and DDR4. DDR stands for double data rate, because what it does that it provides extra memory bus width for the DIMM package. So the data rate is doubled, almost double as compared to the previous DIMMs that were first launched. So what is RAM? It holds your data, or it holds your program instruction, what you want the computer to do for a limited amount of time when it is needed, and it will be cleared off when your instruction has been carried out. So in order to run everything smoothly, you need a certain amount of RAM, that how much instructions at a single time you want to be carried out by the computer. If you are carrying more instructions, you are carrying more data towards the CPU and towards the computer that uh, than your RAM, then obviously things will start getting slower. So you need a specific amount of RAM in order to run every instruction smoothly. The main thing about RAM, that these are volatile type of memory. Volatile means that uh, they are only available to you. The data stored in RAM is only available to you when there's power provided to the RAM. If the power is cut off from the RAM, or if you shut down your computer, shut down your laptop, all the data that is stored in the RAM will be lost. So we have some non-volatile RAM available as well, but these are not for storing program instructions or data for the time being, but they are used for keeping the data as long as we want. So these are obviously work like a fresh drive, but they are very fast as compared to any USB that is available on the market. So non-volatile RAM are specifically used for different type of hardware or embedded devices that require certain amount of data all the time. These are the pictures of some different type of memory. The first is DIMM, Enduring Rank Memory Module. You can see there are chips. The same type of chips will be presented on the back side of that RAM. And we have non-volatile RAM. As you can see, it is not replaceable. It will be fabricated onto the motherboard, and it will remain there. You cannot expand this memory. And if you want to expand this memory, you have to purchase a different type of motherboard. Okay. Now, another type of memory are registers. Now, what are registers? Registers are a smaller portion of your memory, or there is a IC that is included inside your CPU, inside your core, inside your processor. So there are several types of register that are available inside your processor, and they are needed by the CPU when it is performing some operations. Because what if you want to add two numbers? You provide it to the cache memory. Of course, uh, they will be provided to the CPU. But when the CPU is performing that addition of these two numbers, it needs to store them for some amount of time. It cannot use the cache memory, because cache memory is now busy in fetching some other data for you that you will carry out, or that you will process in the next cycle. So these registers will be used when CPU is performing operations on them. Similarly, when these two numbers are added, the answer will also be stored in a register before it is carried out from the database to your monitor, so it can be displayed, or it can be stored on your hard disk or in your RAM. But before that, first they will be stored in the register, because registers are directly accessible by the core, by the processor, when it is performing the said operation. Okay. Apart from RAM, we have read-only memory. These are the type of fresh memory that is a permanent type of storage uh, that is needed, because every computer must have some type of software to support the communication between the processor and the software that we are trying to install. For example, Windows operating system. So when we boot our computer, the first screen that we see is from the program that is stored on read-only memory, or RAM. It is also called fresh memory because read-only memory, as the name implies, can only be read. It cannot be changed. So in the new generation of computers, we see that the BIOS is stored. BIOS is some type of software that is needed by the hardware. You can not have any working computer without a working BIOS. So BIOS is pre-programmed by the manufacturer onto your computer, onto your motherboard specifically. But what happens that if the manufacturer feels that a better type of software or update of the BIOS needs to be carried out. So in the modern computers, we have different type of fresh memory that works as a ROM, but they can be changed. They can be programmed like some normal memory, but through some specialized software. Because if BIOS is corrupted, your whole computer, your whole motherboard is wasted. Okay, so it needs a specialized software in order to update your system BIOS. If your system BIOS is updated, you will see that there are some improvement over the previous BIOS. So these are the things. Apart from that, our motherboard have different types of expansion slots. These are provided so everyone can extend the capabilities of his or her computer according to their needs. If a designer needs some type of specialized graphics support, it can store a graphics card. If some audio analysts want to install a sound card that is Dolby certified, for example, because the normal sound card that we have built into our computer or motherboard does not provide such type of certifications. Okay, so if someone want some type of sophisticated sound card, so it can use the expansion slot of the motherboard that is provided. So we have some different type of expansion cards. For example, Wi-Fi is also available as a PCI card. The image that we have seen on your computer screen is of the expansion card for Ethernet networks. Okay, network interface card, or in short NIC. Then we have expansion slot where it is needed to be inserted. Then we have express card slots, because we see that laptops do not have such type of expansion slots. We cannot install normal type of expansion cards on your laptop. So some of the professional laptop provide express card modules which can be inserted just like a fresh drive. Okay, they provide the same type of functionality that PCI cards provide. Now this is the implementation of bus, that how a bus will connect to different types of peripherals or components of the computer. For example, we see that there is a processor. It is connected to the bus that is taken as FSB or front side bus. Then we have some expansion slot in here. The expansion slot is also connected to the bus. In between all these buses, we have the IC that is interconnecting all those things. For example, the PCI cards, expansion cards, the processor, and the memory. So this is normally called a system bus, or Intel uses different type of naming terminology. For example, Intel uses North Bridge and South Bridge chips to these system bus. So if these system bus are future proof, or they provide such speed to your computer, you will see that overall performance of the computer also increases. It doesn't matter that if you have a very faster processor, if your system bus is slower, the whole computer speed will obviously suffer from that. So this is how system bus is implemented in on your motherboard. We have different peripheral devices. We have different ports like USB ports and audio ports are also connected to this system bus as well. Okay, so these are the expansion buses that are most common. For example, PCI and PCI Express cards. PCI Express slot is used for graphics card because it requires a much larger data rate, while PCI cards require low data rate. So these are just PCI peripheral connection technique. AGP is now obsolete. Now we use only PCI Express 16 or PCI Express 32 cards. So AGP is now obsolete. It is used for graphics card expansion. Then we have hyper transport bus. It is used to interconnect different type of ICs that are included on your motherboard. Then we have universal serial bus or USB interfaces. Now USB interfaces can be used to connect to different type of devices. For example, your USB flash drive. For example, your printer. For example, your headphones. For example, your keyboard and mouse and other things. Okay? And firewire as well. Firewire is the latest technology which you will find mostly on laptops and Apple computers. It is much faster than USB, but not faster than USB 3.0 standard. So it is also used for very fast data transfer.